Hi, it's John Rudkin here from Blackpool TV. I'm here talking to Eddie Collett, the Mayor of Blackpool. We're in the Town Hall, in fact we're in the Mayor's Parlour, and I'll give you a quick flick round to show you what's in here in a few moments' time. But hi Eddie, it's great to meet you again, and also an opportunity to talk to you in your new role as Mayor. Can you tell us something about Eddie the person, i.e. so that the viewers can get an impression of you know, basically who you are and what drives you, what your passions are, and what you're looking to do.
I'm Eddie Collett, and for the last 20 years or so I've been a Labour councillor, and I would say a fairly non-controversial Labour councillor. The way that I operate is pretty much the way that people imagine councillors to operate, which is I'll have my disagreements in private, and then we'll stick to the agreed line in public. This particular position, I've turned it down through work commitments for a couple of years, but and I've never been one that aspired to this position. When it first became obvious that it was going to be my turn eventually, it was a case of I didn't particularly want to do it. But as the time gets closer, you start to think of how you can actually use it and change things around a little bit in order to suit what I want to do. So that's been my intention as it grows on. But you know, from an experience point of view, I've done nearly every job in this council apart from actually being the leader. I've been the deputy leader. I've had a tourism portfolio. I've had the crime portfolio. I've had the education portfolio. For a short while, they even gave me art and culture, and some of that art on South Shore was my responsibility when it first got introduced. I mean, amid public outrage at the time, until the Mirror Ball. The Mirror Ball saved my position, because the first two or three were very, very controversial, and then the Mirror Ball came along, and it was incredibly popular and still is. So yeah, there isn't much. I haven't done adult social services, and I haven't done roads either, so I'm absolutely not responsible for any roads.
Eddie, can you tell us something about your constituency and what you're planning to do within that as the councillor?
Obviously, as mayor, you still remain as a normal ward councillor. And over the years, I've changed my philosophy a little bit, or at least I've developed it. And I've now come to understand that people are generally motivated by in two really strong areas. Either they care about the big national stuff, you know, war and the economy and the environment, or it's the stuff right outside their door. And if the drain is blocked outside their house, that really matters. And if there's a dog that comes down and every morning they come out and there's mess that needs to be cleared up, that really matters. They're less concerned about the area, or even possibly the town. But if it's right outside their door, it really matters to them. And that's understandable, and that's the kind of stuff as a councillor you have to deal with. And you soon get to realise that it's no use telling them that, oh, you know, we're relaying the tarmac in the street just up the road, you know. That doesn't please them at all. It's the tarmac right outside their door. It's difficult to get them to feel, you know, part of bigger projects. I think we were successful when we were doing the casino bid. People generally felt that this was something for Blackpool. Most supported it, one or two didn't, but they certainly felt that it was a plan that they could understand and move forward to. It's much more difficult when you're talking about sort of general regeneration projects and, you know, Talbot Gateway. It is an important project for Blackpool, but it's difficult to get people to buy into that as an overall scheme that's going to make a big impact on Blackpool. So it's this, you know, either the big national stuff or the stuff right outside your door. And that's the same stuff that that motivates me. You know, I am interested. I do care about whether we're going to go to war or not, and I'm personally I'm passionately interested in the civil liberties sort of secrecy or non-secrecy agenda that I think is very, very important. And I'm equally concerned when I drive down the road and there's potholes all over the place, and right now it's weeds. It's, you know, this happens every sort of spring and early summer. You can't believe how fast weeds will grow if they're not treated, and that concerns me just like it does every other council of the town.
And what are you hoping to achieve in this year as mayor?
Certainly, when I realised, when I decided for myself that I was actually going to take this position on, it was because I felt that if I possibly could, I'd like to change it completely. And if I couldn't change it completely, then at least I could change it a little bit and bring it up into what I consider to be a modern day era. Because some of the stuff that goes with this is, in my view, it's a lot of flannel. And the fact that people instantly, from the minute it became obvious that I was going to be the mayor, they've started to call me Mr. Mayor-elect. And I said, no, the name's Eddie. Oh, no, I can't possibly call you that anymore. It's Mr. Mayor-elect. And now I'm the worshipful the mayor. And obviously, friends and family take the mickey something rotten. And me, the worshipful anything is a little bit pushing the boundaries of nonsense. And that's the kind of stuff that I'm really not comfortable with. I can go with the flow, and you know, I really don't mind people taking the mickey. And one of the other things that instantly happens is that virtually all women immediately do a little curtsy in front of me. Oh, Mr. Mayor, and they do this little bob, right? And I have to say, I can now spot people who went to convent schools or private school, because they've clearly been trained to do a curtsy much more than state education children, right? Because they have got this curtsying business down to the absolute T. And that's the kind of stuff that I can smile and laugh at it, but I really don't think that sort of stuff is appropriate these days. And I was holding a business meeting here only earlier this week, and I did say to the assembled, you know, there's about 40, 50, 60 people in the room, and I said, mostly people who come into this room have, or were supposed to feel privileged and honoured to be invited. And I don't like that dynamic at all. I was privileged and honoured that they bothered to come. It was a new experiment, and I was just glad that they came. And you know, I think that's the dynamic, that the mayor should be glad that people come to see him, not that people feel honoured and privileged that they've been invited to see the mayor. And you know, just the fact that as before the meeting started, the door was open and people could wander in. Before that, the usual stuff is the door's locked, and at smack on, this happened to be 4 o'clock, the doors are opened and you file in and you shake the hand of the mayor as you walk in and you're introduced. And I just think that's a bit of a nonsense these days. So that kind of stuff I want to change. But what I'd really like to do is explore the elected mayor option. That I've said, and I've already caused a ruckus by doing that. But I think this day and age that the elected mayor option is a better system altogether. It has been looked at before, but it tends to be by the we're against everything mob, you know, it's always been an anti-movement. Well, what you got, what we're against, we don't really know, but we're just against it. And I think the town needs to have a calm, mature debate about the way that the council operates, and for me, the elected mayor option is a better one. Tony Benn would say that there's no such thing as a perfect democracy, but what you need to know is who's making the decisions, and can you get rid of them if you need to or if you want to. And I think right now the answer at a local level to both of those questions is no. Right? We don't know who's making the decisions, and if we find out, they're in positions that we can't get rid of them. And I don't think that's right, and I think an elected mayor would resolve that as an issue to a large extent. So that's what I really want to do with this position.
And thinking about the sort of key opportunities for Blackpool moving ahead, what do you see those as, and can you just talk a little bit about your sort of expectations for the future?
Clearly, right now the economy is, or has been, so constrained and low that you've got to feel that the only way is up from now on, and I think there are signs of that the worst is over, and for people with a bit of drive and a bit of initiative, there are clearly opportunities out there and starting to come through again. I think what we've got to do is we've got to teach young people, or you know, older people as well. We've got to teach them how to be self-employed, because the days of having, you know, a career in one job or a couple of jobs for 30, 40 years have gone, and you're gonna change your job and your role several times over your working life. And I would have thought that a period of that these days is going to be self-employed. And right now we're churning out very good bricklayers, very good carpenters and plumbers, but nobody's setting them on. The way that you get to work as a bricklayer, carpenter or plumber these days is to be self-employed. And unfortunately I know lots of people who used to take those kind of skills on, who now say there's so much regulation involved that they're not prepared to do it. They're prepared to find people and work with people, but they're not actually going to employ them anymore. So I think that's really important that we do that. But also, quite obviously, there's stuff coming through that nobody knows. You know, especially young people, that they're beginning to understand and absolutely comfortable with the digital age and all that kind of stuff. That even people like me who think that, you know, that they're up to date with it are completely blown away with what can be done, and that's clearly, as long as we can generate that within Blackpool, then I think that's a local opportunity. And part of my role is absolutely for this year is to produce a network of existing businesses, new businesses, and just constantly promote and focus on business within Blackpool. That's, you know, what I'm dedicated to do for these 12 months. And if I make a decent fist of it, then the next mayor, whether it's elected or back to the ceremonial position, won't have much choice but to carry it on. Because, and that would have changed things a little bit anyway. But absolutely, we need to focus on business. I know that, for instance, one of the complaints I've received several times already is how difficult it is for small startup businesses within Blackpool to get through the front door of some of the more established businesses in Blackpool, including the council, and that's not acceptable. You know, that there may not be any work right now, but at least you should be able to approach the council and get through the front door and have a conversation about whatever service it is you're offering, and then be on a list that you can would be considered later on. So that's something that I'm going to concentrate on. The 10 biggest growing businesses right now weren't even invented or thought of 10 years ago. And I think that's where the opportunity lies right now. It isn't, you know, old established businesses. It's people with brand new ideas, thinking brand new thoughts and pushing them forward. And, you know, we've got good colleges and good schools and good links with the very best of universities to push that forward, as long as people have the drive and the initiative to do it.
Thanks very much, Eddie.